Hello, dear students. How are you? I wish you the best and I wish you happy Eid. You have spent a lovely time with your families. Now we are going to have a new lesson, and it is the final lesson in the literary section, which is Unit 12. We are going now. You are having Mrs. Meisaء, and the supervisor is Ms. Luma Khawatmi, and we are going to have our last unit, which is Unit 12 in the literary section book. And the title of this section is Masterpieces. Masterpieces, which means that the best ever things that the painters or writers or anyone that have done. So the masterpiece is something which is marvelous, amazing, that all people like. And I think most of you know what is meant by the word Mona Lisa. Most of us, we know about this famous painting, which is the Mona Lisa. Let's have a quick idea about the Mona Lisa and why it is called Mona Lisa and what is meant by this drawing, why a lot of people find it mysterious, and so on. So the Mona Lisa, as you can see the picture here, number one, we note that as if she's looking at us, and this is a very famous note about the Mona Lisa. And if you are, it depends on your psychologically, depends on your point of view or your psychology at that point. If you're looking at the Mona Lisa and you're happy, you'll find it smiling. If you're sad, you'll find it not smiling. She is frowning. So here, for me, I can see it smiling because she had a need. Okay, so the Mona Lisa is a painting by Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci, who is considered the most famous Italian printer ever in the world. From his time until now, we found that he was the most famous painter. If we look at the Mona Lisa, we find that it looks very realistic, as if it were of flesh and blood, and as if it were looking at us. Mona Lisa was the wife of the Italian silk merchant who was called Francesco Del. So she was the wife of an Italian silk merchant was called Francesco Del. He asked Leonardo to draw his wife, and at that time, after Leonardo had finished drawing the painting, he traveled to Paris and he showed his painting. There was a very big museum and show, and until now the Mona Lisa is kept in Paris. Her true name was Lisa Gioconda. So some people call her the Gioconda because this is her true name. So Mona Lisa, her true name Lisa, and Gioconda. So that's why we call it the Gioconda. The painting is now in the Louvre Museum in Paris. So if you are interested and you like to go there and see the Mona Lisa, the famous painting of Leonardo da Vinci, was a great inventor and great painter. In our book now, we'll move to the verbs and to the vocabulary exercises. Here we have two kinds of verbs, and we are going phrasal verbs, in fact, and we are going to explain what is the difference between them and when do we use them. It is very important for you, and some verbs will be in your exams, so it is very important to pay attention to their meaning exactly. For example, the first verbs, we are going to talk about something which is called literal verbs or literal meaning. Literal meaning means that it gives me the exact meaning of the word without changing. And here we say, the definition which is written in your book, they say, there are many phrasal verbs consisting of. Why we call them phrasal? Because we don't have just the verb. We have something else after the verb. So we have a verb plus adverb or a preposition. So either an adverb or a preposition with a literal meaning. What does it mean, literal meaning here? Listen to this example. I looked up the tree, but I couldn't see my cat. I looked up the tree, but I couldn't see my cat. Literal here means to raise your eyes up. So you raise your eyes up the tree looking for your lost cat, but here you couldn't see it. So the word here, look up, means to raise your eyes up. Here this is the literal, the exact, the accurate meaning of the word with the preposition up, which means to look at a higher place. So the phrasal verbs consisting of a verb plus an adverb or preposition gives me a literal meaning, like this verb here, looked up, which means to raise your eyes up. Now we have an exercise to differentiate and to know the exact meaning of we have some verbs, like you can see this table. We have the verbs and we have their meanings. This is vocabulary exercise number 1. We have some verbs, like here in the first sentence we say, exercise number 1, there is some chocolate in the fridge. Can you get it out? There's some chocolate in the fridge. Can you get it out? Number 2, why is the towel on the floor? Please pick it up. Why is the towel on the floor? Please pick it up. Number 3, put on something warm. It's cold today. Put on something warm. It's cold today. Number 4, when are you coming back to Syria? When are you coming back to Syria? The italic verbs, the verbs which are in italics, which are not straight like other verbs or other letters in italics, are the verbs here which we call them phrasal verbs. Now let's see each one, what does it mean? We have meaning for each one, which is literal, exact, accurate, the same. Here, the first sentence, for example, there is some chocolate in the fridge. Can you get it out? The meaning here, it means to collect from a place or bring the chocolate out of the fridge and bring it to me. So here it means to collect from a place. Number 2, why is the towel on the floor? Please pick it up. Pick it up here, it means to take or hold of something and lift it up, lift it from the floor. It is on the floor. The towel, you know that this is a piece of cloth that we, for example, make our face, dry our faces or hands after we wash them. This is a towel. So here, when we talk about the towel and say pick it up, it means to hold or take something and lift it up. Number 3. Put on something warm. It's cold today. The verb put on here means to dress something, because they say it is cold, so you need to put on, to wear, to dress something which is heavy in order not to feel cold and be sick. Number 4, when are you coming back to Syria? When are you coming back to Syria? Coming back here is in italic. The verb come, we know what does it mean, but come back means to go, and come back means to return. You have traveled to somewhere, and now I'm asking you when you are coming back, when are you returning to Syria? So here, when are you coming back to Syria means when are you coming or when you are returning to Syria. These are the literal meanings of these sentences. Now, let's move to something else, which is called verse number 2. They say it is called idiomatic, which means not the exact meaning. It is something else we should know. Idiomatic means that they have something different from what we know. For example, and here they say, they explain that some of other verbs, the phrasal verbs, aren't literal. They have idiomatic meanings. We should know them in order to know how to use them well in our exams or in our compositions and sentences. For example, here they say, I looked up the spelling in my dictionary. I looked up the spelling in my dictionary. Here, the meaning is idiomatic. Idiomatic means to look for information in a dictionary. So looked up here in this sentence doesn't mean to raise your eyes. No, it means to search, to look for some information in the dictionary. Okay, so the sentence here, I looked up the spelling in my dictionary. It is an idiomatic meaning, which means to look for information in a dictionary. Here also we have another exercise. Let's see what is it. Vocabulary exercise number 2. We have verbs and then we will discuss their meanings. Number 1 says, will you get the book out by the end of the year? Will you get the book out by the end of the year? Number 2, I'll pick you up at 5. I'll pick you up at 5. 3, she looks like she has put on several kilos. She looks like she has put on several kilos. 4, she came back at the speaker with some sharp questions. She came back at the speaker with some sharp questions. Let's see the meanings of each sentence. Number 1, the verbs again. Will you get the book out by the end of the year? Here it means to produce or publish something. So, get the book out means to produce or publish something. Number 2, I'll pick you up at 5. It means to go somewhere in your car and collect someone who's waiting for you. So the word here, pick up, means to go somewhere in your car and collect someone who's waiting for you. Number 3, she looks like she has put on several kilos. It means put on several kilos means to gain weight, to become fat or overweight or to become plump. Okay, so here, looks like that she has put on several kilos means to get and gain extra weight, to become fatter. Number 4, she came back at the speaker with some sharp questions. Came back here doesn't mean to return, it means to reply to someone angrily or with force. If somebody makes you angry, and he gives you some sharp questions or sharp replies, so you reply him in angrily way or in anger way or with force. So here, come back means to reply to someone angrily or with force. All these are idiomatic meanings. Here, now we'll move to an exercise to check your understanding. So they say we have an activity now. The activity says decide which phrasal verb is literal and which is idiomatic. Okay? Now I will read the sentences. We have 2, A and B for each number, and we'll see which is idiomatic and which is literal. Number 1, for example, A says, the plane to Russia has just taken off. The plane to Russia has just taken off. Taken off here, what does it mean? Is it idiomatic, you think, or it is literal? Think about it. I'll give you 15 seconds to think about it. So the plane to Russia has just taken off. Okay? Did you get it? Taken off here is idiomatic. So we can write just letter I next to the sentence to abbreviate it, which means it is idiomatic. So the plane to Russia has just taken off is an idiomatic sentence or idiomatic meaning. Number B or letter B says, take that dish off the table. It's going to fall. Take that dish off the table. Take and off here, off the table, it's going to fall. What do you think? Is it idiomatic or literal? It is going to fall on the floor and scratched and be broken. What do you think? Is it literal or idiomatic? Okay, now here it is literal meaning, exact meaning of the sentence that we should take the dish and be careful not to break it. Okay, so move to number 2. Number 2 literal letter A says, can you pick up my wallet? It's under your chair. Can you pick up my wallet. It's under your chair. Guess with me, is it literal or idiomatic? Pick up my wallet. It is under your chair. Wallet, you know that the wallet, we put our money or you put identification card like this. So it is a small bag that we keep our valuable things inside, like money. So pick up my wallet. Here it means it is a literal meaning, exact meaning of the sentence. Take it out or pick it up from the floor. Sentence number B says, my brother picked me up home while he was returning from work. My brother picked me up home while he was returning from work. So here, pick me up, what does it mean? Is it literal or idiomatic? He picked me up home. He brings me home with him while he was coming home from work. So what do you think? Is it literal or idiomatic? Picked me up. My brother picked me up home while he was returning from work. This is idiomatic. Sentence number 3, letter A. I looked up the term digital literacy in Oxford Dictionary. I looked up the term digital literacy in Oxford Dictionary. Looked up here, is it literal or idiomatic? The term, the meaning of the word. The word here, it means that you are looking for. What does mean the word, for example, digital literacy? In Oxford Dictionary, looked up here means, is it literal or idiomatic? This is idiomatic. It is idiomatic because we are searching for the information from the dictionary, not raising our eyes up. Number B says, we looked up the tree and there was a hummingbird on the top branch. We looked up the tree, the verb here looked up, and there was a hummingbird on the top branch. Looked up, we raise our eyes here, so it is, yes, you are right, literal. So we looked up the tree and there was a hummingbird on the top branch. It is literal sentence or meaning. Exercise number, sentence number 4, letter A. It says, you should put on your waterproof coat as it's raining. You should put on your waterproof coat as it's raining. So here, put on, is it literal or idiomatic? You should dress, you should wear your waterproof. Here it is literal. So the word put on your waterproof coat, which is against rain and water, coat, as it is raining. Because it is raining, you have to wear your waterproof coat. So put on here has a literal meaning. Sentence letter B says, eating too much chocolate leads to putting on a lot of weight. Putting on here doesn't mean to dress. No, it means to gain, to get some weight. So is it literal or idiomatic? Eating too much chocolate leads to putting on a lot of weight. Here it is idiomatic, not literal. Sentence number 5, letter A. Would you mind getting my car out of the garage? Would you mind getting my car out of the garage? Getting out here, is it literal or idiomatic? Would you like or would you mind getting my car out of the garage? It is a literal meaning, to take my car out of your garage. But number B, look at number B. It says, the author got his new novel out last month. The author got his new novel out last month. Got his novel out, it means to publish his novel last month, which is idiomatic. So, as you can note, this activity is very good for you in order to differentiate between literal and idiomatic meanings, and it is very important for your exam. So pay attention to this exercise. Now let's move to something else. Moving to pronunciation. We'll move to now the pronunciation. Pronunciation, our lesson here is called sound linking. Sound linking. What does mean sound linking and when we can use it? And also it is very good for you in order to use English well and speak English fluently. Here it says, sound linking is a way of joining the pronunciation of two words so that they are easy to say and flow together smoothly as if we are fluent and as if we are local or native speakers. So we use sound linking in a way of joining the pronunciation of two words so that they are easy to say and flow together smoothly, very easily and simply. What are the letters that we link them? They say here, consonant to vowel linking is, so when we have a consonant letter and a vowel in the second word, so we can link them together. So consonant to vowel linking is when one word ends with a consonant sound and the next word begins with a vowel sound. The words are linked together. So we need to have the first word, it has a consonant, ends with a consonant, and the second starts with a vowel. So here we can link the words together to find that we are speaking fluently and in a good way. For example, here, look at this pronunciation exercise. Number 1. Can you read it now by yourself? As students, I know they say at and they stop, then say 8 and then stop and then say o'clock. And in sound linking, we need to look at the word at. It ends with a consonant. And the word 8 starts with a vowel. So this is consonant, this is a vowel. So here we can link them. Look at the word 8 ends with a consonant also. And the O here is a vowel. So also we can link them together. So here we can say at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock. So we can, as you can see, at, we don't stop at 8 o'clock. As if we are pronouncing them very quickly together at 8 o'clock. Okay, so here at, we don't stop at every single word. We say at, directly we will, okay, thank you. Okay, so at 8 o'clock here, at ends with consonant, and here 8 starts with a vowel. We can link them. No need to stop. We can link them together. And the same for the word 8. It ends with a consonant, and o'clock starts with a vowel. Also, we can link them. So we say at 8 o'clock. You see, it is very easy and simple, and we pronounce it directly, linking the letters together at 8 o'clock. Moving to exercise number 2, look at this sentence. As soon as possible. Where can we link the words? As consonant and consonant, so no need to link them. We look at soon, it ends with a consonant. As starts with a vowel, so we can join or link the letters only here. So, as soon as possible. Try to say it with me. As soon as possible. Okay, so we don't stop. We say as soon as possible, as our students usually do. No, we pronounce them as if they are just one word, as soon as possible. Moving to sentence number 3. Here we have an interesting film. Look at an is a consonant, in is a vowel. Okay, so only here we can link the words together. What about interesting and film? We can't, because both of them are consonant. So, interesting film. Interesting film. We say it like this, as if it is one word. Sentence number 4 says, a car accident at night. Let's see what are the words we are going to link, or the letters. Car ends with C consonant. Accident starts with a vowel. Accident ends with a consonant, and at starts with a vowel. The same for at consonant, and here we can't because we have both consonants. Sorry. No need for this. I'll clean it. Okay, so we have two linking here. The first one, car with accident, and accident with at. So we say a car accident at night. A car accident at night. Okay, so here we pronounce it. A car accident at night. I'll read them again. Try to practice reading yourself. This is just for the sake of pronunciation. We want you just to pronounce words, produce words in a good, elegant way. So, pronunciation exercise talks about some sentences. Pay attention where do we have the consonant and where is the vowel. Number 1, it says at 8 o'clock. 2, as soon as possible. An interesting film. A car accident at night. Let's move to grammar. Now, in the grammar here, we have a very new rule for you, which is called inversion. This is the first time, even in your 9th grade, you didn't have. This is a new for you. Let's try to explain it as much as possible. An English grammar here, it is inversion. What is the definition of the inversion? They say, when we begin a sentence with a linking adverbial, for example, seldom or negative one, which is not only but also, not only here it is negative, or the word never, sometimes also it is negative, the subject and the auxiliary verb, the auxiliary, or we call it helping verb, they are inverted, which means we change their places. So the meaning of the word inversion, it means when we begin a sentence with a linking adverbial like the word seldom, or not only, or never, hardly, rarely, any one of these adverbs, we can change the places of the auxiliary verb and the subject, and this is called inversion. Now let's see some examples and try to explain them for you. Look at the first sentence. They say here, seldom did they go to the football match. The real sentence was, they seldom went to the football match. What did we do here is that we look at the verb. It was in the past. We need to use the verb did, the auxiliary or the helping verb did, and we put it before the subject. This is the subject. So we replace it with the verb, and this is the main verb. This is helping verb. Okay, so we say, so when we have seldom at the beginning, when do we use it this way, which is called inversion? We use it, in fact, most of the time in composition. While we are writing composition, in order to change the order of the sentence, not to be monotonous. For example, when you are talking about a trip, we go, we come, no need for that. We try to change by using some linking words or conjunctions, we call them, in order to have good meaning and attractive way in reading. So here, when we start with the word seldom, we change, we put a helping verb and then the subject, we change their places. The real sentence was, they seldom went to the football match. So here it becomes better when I say, seldom did they go to the football match. Number 2. Number 2, hardly had the play started. Let me just first clean for you this notes. Okay, hardly. Also, hardly is an adverb. Hardly had the play started when there was a disturbance in the audience. Look at the verb had and started. The sentence here in the past perfect. So we put the play here is the subject. So we put the verb before the subject and we complete the sentence because we started with the word hardly. Okay, when we have disturbance or disorder and noise among the audience, if they are attending a play on theater, we can't start the show. So that's why it was difficult, hardly, which means difficultly. So hardly had the play started when there was a disturbance in the audience. We waited until they were okay and then we started the play. So here hardly and then the verb before the subject. Sentence number 3. Also when we have not only but also. Not only he speak, not only does. So we can say the first sentence it was he speaks English, he speaks French. So here we put not only at the beginning to give better meaning of the sentence and to be more attractive, okay, for the listener, for example. So we say not only does he speak English, he speaks French. So we put the helping verb here, helping verb, and then the main verb, and the subject is in the middle. So the sentence becomes, not only does he speak English, but also we can say, but also he speaks French. Sentence number 4. As you remember, we have in if conditional type 2, we have sentences which says, and it is called unreal past. When we want to give advice, we say, if I were you, and the real sentence here, it was number 4, it was, if I were you, I would study more. We drop if and we change the place of the verb where, so it becomes, were I you, I would study more. So the real sentence was, if I were you. But we drop the if and we replace and we invert the I with verb were, and it becomes like this. We change it with the place, so it becomes, were I you, I would study more. Pay attention that were, and here the verb should be would. Pay attention in the exam. If you have it, you have to choose the past with the infinitive. So here, the sentences, I will read them after I finish. I will read them after the changing. Number 1, after I'll clean all these notes in order not to bother you. I want just to clean them. Give me just a little time. Thank you. Now, the exercise says, so number 1, if any sentence starts with any adverbial like seldom, hardly, not only, never, where are you, okay, we will invert between the subject and the helping verb or the auxiliary. Here, the first sentence, seldom did they go to the football match. 2, hardly had the play started when there was a disturbance in the audience. 3, not only does he speak English, he speaks French. 4, where are you, I would study more. And we don't forget that we have also question tag. We also invert the verbs and the. Here, sentence number 5, never have I been to London before. The real sentence was, I have never. The real sentence was, I have never been to London before. So here when we change this verb, we change the word, we have the word never, we start at the beginning and we change the place of have and I. Okay, so it becomes never have I I have been to London before. Never have I been to London before. So we change between the subject and the verb. So the last sentence, never have I been to London before. But we have some important notes we are going to have. Now, listen to the notes. Some of the verbs we don't invert, and this is in the following cases. Number 1, look, so we don't invert in the following cases. Case number 1, this is very important. Pay attention to it, please. Number 1 said, we use pronouns with here, come, or comes. If we have the sentence start with here, come, or here comes, we don't invert. Or there, sometimes some sentences start with the word there, go, or goes. Also, no need to invert. For example, here comes the professor. Here comes the professor. The sentence was the professor comes. But we change it in order to make better meaning or better sentence. So here comes the professor, or there go the teachers whatever. So it is like this. We don't invert the verb and the adverb here. Number 2, when we include a question in another question, which is called indirect question. For example, where are my glasses? If you want to ask this question, where are my glasses? This is the real question before we change it. But when you find your sister or brother and ask them, have you any idea where my glasses are? Have you any idea where my glasses are? So as you can note, the verb are comes at the end of the sentence because we invert it. We don't invert. In the real question, we invert it. But in the second one, when start with another question which says, have you any idea where my glasses are? So are comes at the end. So pay attention when we have 2 questions. Sentence, note number 3. In indirect speech, for yes-no questions. If you remember, indirect speech, we have questions. We have 2 types of questions, WH and yes-no. The first one is WH. The second here in yes-no questions, for example, have you been to Canada before? Look at the verb have. It comes at the beginning. Have you been to Canada before? He asked me if I had been to Canada before. So we reorder the sentence as if it is a statement, not a question, not a direct question. So here we say, when the first question says, have you been to Canada before? When we invert it or when we change it, we say, he asked me if I had been to Canada before. Here, no need for inversion. So in these 3 cases, we don't invert the sentences. Let me summarize them very quickly. Number 1, if we have pronouns starting with there or here, we don't change the order of the sentence. Number 2, if we have a question in another question, we don't invert. Number 3, if we have indirect speech, when we have yes-no questions, if somebody asks you something, so we don't invert the sentences. Now, let's move to everyday English. In everyday English here, we have something very nice. We are talking about permission. In fact, do you take permission from your parents if you want to go somewhere? How do you ask for a permission? And will they accept or refuse? Let's see. In English here first, if we're going to ask for a permission, we should be very polite, and we don't start, I will go, or you tell your parents you are going to do something. No, you should ask in a very polite way for permission. You say, for example, number 1, may I? Can I, for example, go for a walk with my friends? So you should be very polite when you ask for permission. You use may I or can I. Not you say directly, I will go. It is not polite. Okay? Or you can say, do you think I could go for a wine with my friends? Do you think I could go? Number 3, is it okay if I go out with my friends or if I attend my friend's party? Is it okay? So here also another polite way. The 4th one said, do or would you mind if I go with my friends? Do you mind or would you mind if I go out with my friends or if I attend my friend's party? If your father or parents will give you the permission, you say, sure, yes, of course, help yourself, no problem, it's okay. So all these are expressions of giving permission. Sure, yes, of course, help yourself, no problem, it's okay. Or if they will refuse, if we are going to refuse permission, for example, your brother wants to borrow your, let's say, bike or motorbike or whatever, we don't say no immediately. No, we say sorry, and then you explain why you refuse their permission. So first you say sorry, and then you give your cause or reason. Or you say, I'm afraid that's not possible. I'm afraid that's not possible. Note says we should be very polite and not to refuse directly. To refuse permission politely, we usually don't say no, it is not allowed here, it is not good. We give reasons why we refuse giving permission. Okay, so don't say no for just saying no. Sometimes you ask your father for something and he say no. You say why? Because he said, because I said so. No, this is not allowed here. You give reasons why you refuse giving the permission and beginning with the word Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm afraid, I can't tell you, I can't tell you, I will tell you. So explain for them why you have refused. And here they give us a dialogue. Let's see the son and the father, and why as parents we try to punish our kids or children and try to take revenge when they ask for something. Look at the son and the father. The son said, Dad, can I go out tonight? Dad, can I go out tonight? Look at the word can I. It is bold here. It is a good way and it is a polite way to so the word can I, it is a polite way. After can, we know that we have infinitive, go out tonight. So this is a polite way, like the expressions here. Can I or may I? And the father said, it's school night. I'm afraid, look, he refused in a polite way. He said, I'm afraid that's not possible. And we have it here. I'm afraid that's not possible, as you can note. So the father said, it is a school night. I'm afraid that's not possible. The son said, Dad, all my friends are going to the game. Dad, please, try to be sympathetic, okay? All my friends are going to the game. Father, I'm sorry, here again. He refused, but in a polite way. I'm sorry, son. So he said sorry. He didn't say no immediately. No, he said first, I'm sorry, son. Why? What is the reason? Now he is giving the reason. The reason is your grades, which means your marks in the exam, haven't been the best recently. So here the father said, this is the reason why the father refused his son to go to the game. Because his grade haven't been the best recently. And he explained, I'm going to say no. So first he gave the reason, and then he said the word no. I'm going to say no. You are not going because of your grades, your marks in the exam were bad. Dad, come on, let me go. When you are start nagging, nagging, when you want, no, yes, please, I want it, please. This is called nagging. Oh, Dad, come on, let me go. Sorry, son. Again, he refused here in a polite way. Sorry, son, I said no. Okay? And he gave his reasons. What if here the son is trying to compromise with his father? He said, what if I promise? Okay? He wants to promise to finish all my duties tomorrow. Okay, so here he gave his word that he's going to finish all his duties and studies tomorrow. What if I promise to finish all my duties tomorrow? Here the father becomes better and he said, you're always nagging on me. He tries to change the way of his speech. Okay, look at the word okay. It is very bold here. Okay, son, but he put another condition. But be sure I'll check your job tomorrow. I'll check your job tomorrow. So here he accepts the permission, but he gives a condition. I'll check your job tomorrow. Thanks, Dad. Okay, so this is the way how we ask for permission and then get the permission or refuse it. I read it again in order to make it clear for you. Son and the father. Son here said, Dad, can I go out tonight? Father, it's a school night. I'm afraid that's not possible. Dad, all my friends are going to the game. I'm sorry, son. Your grades haven't been the best recently. I'm going to say no. Oh, Dad, come on, let me go. Sorry, son, I said no. What if I promise to finish all my duties tomorrow? You're always nagging on me. Okay, son, but be sure I'll check your job tomorrow. Thanks, Dad. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Wish you the best and